What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night. That means it's time to talk about movies. Hey, everybody. I am Vincent Didiano, and this is my podcast, POVincent.
It's his podcast.
It's my podcast. I own it. Everything. Everything in this room is mine.
That's not true at all.
No, it's not true
well,
at all.
not the last part.
No.
I don't think you own anything in that room. You might be running the clothes you're wearing right now.
Yeah, they're on lease.
That's like the most expensive way to maintain poverty.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lease these clothes.
I'm leasing them. Anyway, yes, I am Vincent Didiano. This is my podcast, POVincent. And we are here in Pittsburgh at the Mr. Small Studios, part of the River's Edge Network. And
Get it together, Vincent.
I know. You just,
Get it together.
I'm like behind.
I don't even know if you know who I am.
This! Of course I know who you are. You're,
the loudest person in the world!
This is Filbert. No, I'm kidding. This is my... as he is every week, this is my comrade in comedy, Eric Williams. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Vincent. I got to have chicken wings and French fries today.
Both of them
with some Gouda cheese sauce. Oh, baby.
Oh.
So I'll stop before I turn you more on.
Yeah, I know. I says you get like I was like, okay, chicken, French fries, and now we got Gouda.
Stop touching yourself, Vincent.
I'm not. Well, it wasn't that much. Anyway, just a wee little tickle. Anyway, before we get on to movie talk, we got to go over a few things, of course. As for those of you watching, we gotta. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, International Podcast Day coming up this Sunday, September 30th, and because of it, Pittsburgh is having the very first Pittsburgh PodCon. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, that's important.
Keeping you on your toes, Vincent. Keeping you on your toes. I just wanted to build the suspense before you drop Pittsburgh Podcast Day.
For those of you just listening on the normal podcast, we forgot to take down one of the microphones that we don't use. But anyway, yeah, International Podcast Day this Sunday, Pittsburgh.
They didn't need to know that. You could have just kept them wondering. You could have been like, tune in next week to watch the live cast and figure out what the heck just happened.
You know, society is kept from so many things that I didn't want to keep that from them, which will be a discussion point coming up later in the show. But anyway.
Someone said co-host is mean, and I don't know if they mean that the term is mean or that I'm mean.
What? Okay.
Sheila Shea?
Oh, okay. Hey, Sheila, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you at the bar later. I do other things besides the podcast. Anyway, we got to talk about this stuff. Damn it. Anyway, so yeah, International Podcast Day. This Sunday, September 30th, Pittsburgh will have the very first Pittsburgh PodCon, River's Edge Network, which we're a part of in association with Sorgatron Media. Me and Eric will be there. We're going to have our own table.
We'll be there.
Yeah, among over 30 other podcasters are going to be there promoting their stuff. We're going to be there. Please come check it out and talk with us. We really have to, meet some new people, get your views on movies. What do you think's going on? And the other thing we
would love to spend that day talking to some people that aren't other podcasters. Like, the real question is going to be like, how many of them don't we already know?
Yeah. So you don't talk into a microphone on a weekly basis? How do you survive? But yeah, other thing we need to mention is, like, as I've brought up a few other times, we now have a Patreon page. Patreon.com/POVincent. If you enjoy the show and you'd like to support us, please head over there and consider contributing. Any amount would blow my mind, honestly. But with that said, it's time to get on to the movie news.
Movies!
Yes, movies. So this first one is going to be a little surprising. Kind of cool, kind of surprising at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, Freddy Krueger is coming back. Yeah. But no, it's not a new Freddy Krueger movie. Freddy Krueger...
Wait, what?
No.
Is he attacking us through video games now?
He did that once with the Power Glove. Remember that? You don't remember that?
I don't remember the Power Glove.
In one of the movies, he's got one of the people in a dream, and he's controlling them, and he's using Nintendo Power Glove, and they're bouncing around like Mario.
Was that like did they really make a Power Glove, or was that just in the movie?
No, it was in the movie. They bought a Power Glove, and Freddy's wearing it. He's wearing it. But anyway, so the real story is that Robert Englund is coming back as Freddy on the TV show The Goldbergs.
It's going to be a bad day to be a Goldberg.
Yeah.
I always knew Freddie was anti-Semitic.
But anyway, yes,
I just knew it.
I mean, no offense, but after what technically what he's most known for, I think, I don't know which one's worse. I was about to debate it and like, stop, Vincent. Those are both monumentally horrible. Don't go there. It's not worth it. Anyway, so yeah, for those of you who don't know, The Goldbergs, a TV show based on a real-life family called The Goldbergs, where their young son had a video camera and he would just record everything they did. And he was a kid in the 80s, so the show is set in the 80s. And this is from an article on Collider.com. England will reprise this role for a Halloween episode of ABC sitcom The Goldbergs. No, you're not dreaming. Old Freddie has come a long way since the Extra Crispy murder he first popped and was crazy. Blah, 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 blah. So he's going to be popping up in that. It should be a really fun episode. I mean, The Goldbergs has been on for a few seasons now, and from what I hear, it's actually not a bad show. I just really don't watch.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's on one. Here's the thing: I'm not too familiar with it. I know the basic premise of it, and there's a few like notable actors I've seen in other stuff. But yeah, apparently it's I don't know, it's been on for a few seasons. It's got that '80s nostalgia because, like I said, it's in the '80s. They did one episode where like they tributed Ghostbusters because I think the show's set around the time where the first one came out, so they had like a Ghostbusters episode. So it's just a goofy family, doing their thing.
They're just all weird and stuff.
Yeah. So since we're on the subject of horror, I said this before, I'll say it again. I'm not really a big horror movie guy.
Yeah, that's me mocking you. Go on. I
don't hate horror movies.
Go on.
I totally respect the talent it takes to scare. Shut the fuck up.
Go
keep
on.
going, I'm gonna kick your ass. All right.
You're gonna make your own horror movie with me as the main character, and I don't get to be the final girl.
Yeah. So Eric, now you're more into horror stuff than I am.
I enjoy myself some horror if it's really bad or really funny or just like actually well written. I still argue that generally the best horror is normally either comedy horror or mystery horror, which the original Nightmare on Elm Street is. So it's Friday the 13th, but that's not what we're talking about.
No. So who what would you say? What was some of your favorite horror movies?
Let's see. Recently, and I know I've mentioned this to you as like movies you should check out, but John Dies at the End, Cabin in the Woods, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, all a bunch of fun stuff. I mean, Scream's no longer a modern classic. I guess at this point I have to say that Scream is a classic. It's only like a couple of years later than frickin' Silence of the Lambs, which was partially filmed in Pittsburgh. Yeah, man. But I've watched all sorts of. You run into the tropes. One of trying to remember, The Butcher was this awful one that I watched with some friends. At one point,
The Butcher.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw a movie once called Dr. Butcher.
Probably. Like, they lose a little bit of creativity with titles. But no, this one, it was really bad. Like, it was similar to Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but without the originality. It was your killer redneck trope. And like in the beginning, one of the girls is flashing through a sunroof. As they're driving, and then the like hillbilly like scares them, and so the driver turns and just bop head off by a branch. But it was one of those you can like see that it's like a dummy's head just like fly. It was really bad.
It was a topless dummy. So did you see?
Well, no, you see. So I think you see tits. This was some years back, okay? Don't grill me like we're at the Kavanaugh hearing, okay?
Was the dummy top?
I warned you. It'd be hard not to get political, even before we get into our feature film today, Littlefoot, which is surprisingly political for a movie about Yetis.
Correction.
They're actually very politically active. Yeah. Little known fact. The reason that like Bigfoot has to hide is because he's actually a socialist, and if he can't, you know, he would just get murdered by the capitalists.
Oh, right. Well, I also like how you screwed up again. You said Littlefoot instead of Smallfoot. There's so many Land Before Time people that are so confused right now.
Smallfoot. They should have gone with Littlefoot. Maybe they would have gotten sued by the Land Before Time people. I don't know the rules.
No one knows.
I don't know the rules.
We live in such uncertain times. But anyway, let's move on to something else. We'll move on from horror because we got some trailers to talk about.
Well, we've got some trailers to talk about. I don't know what voice
Why
that
are you
was
repeating me like the dinky little brother in the Sandlot?
Because
we got trailers to talk. Yeah, we got trailers to talk about. Like, shut up.
Sandlot is a great movie.
Sandlot is a great movie, but that character is still annoying. But he's annoying for the right reasons. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to some more 80s nostalgia. Another thing set in 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Transformers movie, Bumblebee. This movie was announced a long time ago, and this is not. And they released a trailer a while back, but they released a new trailer. And the cool thing about this new trailer is that we could see a lot more characters and such. The basic premise of the movie is that Bumblebee is on Earth in the 80s, and he meets a young girl who buys him when he's in his car mode. So much like the first Transformers film with Shia LaBeouf, and he transforms, and they form this bond. It's not necessarily right into the action like it was with Shia LaBeouf, but you know there's a lot of things going on. The young woman is played by, oh crap!
A young woman?
Yeah, the young woman who he befriends. It's a female main character. Oh, what's her name? Damn it! Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, Haley Steinfeld was a very talented actress. I mean, when I first saw her in the True Grit remake, and she was awesome in that movie.
Oh, okay,
she's probably more known now for her singing career as well as being in the Pitch Perfect films. But don't forget, she's actually very talented. And she can really do drama well. But anyway, so in this movie, we see a lot more. One of the exciting things about it, just get right into it, is as you can see up on the green screen here, for those of you watching on the live stream, is that we get to see more images of the other Transformers. In the previous trailer, we only got to see Starscream, Megatron's right-hand command in the evil Decepticon forces. And we saw in that first trailer that Starscream has more of a look to his classic look from the cartoon. He even has his white and red color scheme from the classic cartoon. So that was exciting, and Bumblebee looks a little bit more like his classic form. Not exactly, admittedly, but so cool. But this one, we get to see more of the Transformers. We get to see, and I always forget the names. So I wrote it down this time. Well, there's two Transformers who I always get mixed up because they both have like a sound-based name. So we got to see Starscream, like I said. We got to see Shockwave, who a lot of people know as...
And Starscream.
Yes.
Bam!
We got to see Shockwave. We got to see Soundwave. Those are two always mixed up.
Oh, right. So there's Shockwave, Soundwave, and Starscream?
Yeah, and yeah. So Shockwave is the one that's got like the Cyclops eye face, and he's got like a gun for the one hand. And then Soundwave, he's the one who's like his chest opening up and like cassette tapes pop out and transform. He's that guy. And Optimus Prime shows up. And what's awesome about seeing this trailer is that they really tried to stick them close to their original G1 style. So by G1, that's what the Transformer fan base calls the original series. They call that Generation 1 G1 for short. And honestly, they look like Optimus Prime looks like the original Optimus Prime. The Soundwave looks like the original Shockwave. Starscream is very close. So it's really exciting because I actually admit, the Michael Bay films, I have not enjoyed most of them. The first Transformers film I thought wasn't that bad, and I like the updated looks of some of the Transformers. I thought Optimus Prime looked pretty good, but I'm still geeking out. I'm still loving that they took the time to give him his classic look. I think he looks great, but it's his classic look, but of course they updated it to make it look like this blocky robot can actually move around and has articulation and all that stuff. I'm really excited. I really enjoyed it. Other stuff going on in there. We also see John Cena's character. He's some kind of military man. And we see in the movie that two Decepticons approach the American military and claim that Bumblebee is actually a traitor who's trying to start a war back on their planet or end a war. So that's cool because we actually see Decepticons being deceptive. I know that's small, but I just like that.
No, that's so valid, especially considering that, for a group of attacking robot things called Decepticons. All of their names are very loud things.
Yes. Shockwave, Soundwave, Starscream!
Yeah.
Megatron!
They're not very deceptive. They're just kind of like, hey, we're gonna hurt you and stuff. We're gonna be loud and hurt you a lot with our big weapons that aren't very deceiving.
Yeah. Now, like I said, the military seems to believe the two Decepticons had approached them, and now they're trying to hunt down Bumblebee, which is a continuing theme in the Transformers franchise, the movies that is, where there is either a part of our government or military that is hunting down the Autobots for no good damn reason. Like the first movie, they kind of had a reason because they didn't know who was good guys, bad guy robots.
Autobots are like the Jason Bourne of the Transformers series. The government just won't leave them alone, man. Yeah. They just want to be left alone to fight Decepticons. Same thing Jason Bourne wanted.
Yeah. Except we'll never have that scene from the third Jason Bourne film where he's like, they're talking on the phone. He's like, let's meet. And Jason Bourne's like, I'm in your office. I don't think you can fit Optimus Prime in your standard office. He fucked that joint up.
No, man. I'm in your office. Sorry about the mess. I hope you have a good cleaning service. You should tip them heavily.
Anyway.
It's just oil, I swear.
Anyway, I can't pay for the damages, so, transform and roll the fuck out! But anyway, yeah, so, now, I hope this movie is good, but, you know, because it's the first one not directed by Michael Bay. First live-action Transformers not directed by him. But it's still part of that same universe he created, and that universe has a very muddy, messy history, because in each movie they reveal just, oh, the Transformers actually showed up at this point in history. Oh, no, they showed up at this point in history. Actually, they've been around for this long. It's just like, why? Like, in the final movie, they gave a BS reason, just, I guess, to satisfy people who had that. It's like bullcrap. But anyway, that could be a whole nother discussion.
Calm down, Vincent. Calm down. Right. You're getting almost worked up as you do whenever we bring up Batman versus Superman.
Damn it, we almost could have gone. We could have gone. We could have had our chip, our sobriety chip, of not talking about Batman versus Superman. But you screwed that up. But anyway, I'll say one more thing, then we'll move on to the next news story.
I'm a fiend for it, Vincent. I'm a fiend for the pain.
Yeah. So anyway, I really hope this movie is good. I hope, because I like Haley Steinfeld, John Cena. I used to be a wrestling
He's
fan.
cheering for you guys, John.
You can't see. Oh, he'd make a great Transformer because you can't see him. He's always in disguise. You can't see me.
My favorite disguise was him as a tea partier and like the good kind of tea. No, there was a meme that went around. He like volunteers for the Make-A-Wish Foundation as him and like this like maybe 7-year-old girl who's got like leukemia or something having a tea party, and to see John Cena holding a teacup. There should just be a show where John Cena just holds adorable tiny animals.
That would be great. On this episode, John Cena holds a baby chinchilla
with dying children, but we don't tell you they're dying. You just think they're because he could also have a TV show and help Make-A-Wish at the same time.
So anyway, I'll just Transformers movie. Moving on to the next story. Wow, Eric.
Hey, I want the dying children to experience something wonderful, okay? What's so awful about that?
I don't know. Anyway,
thanks, Beaker.
Next story. Anyway.
I don't know what I want to hear you give reviews of movies as more, Beaker or Rocky Balboa.
I could do both. Join me on the show this week. We got a skinny Muppet guy. I can't understand what he says, but he's got heart.
No, I kind of want to do a show where it's just you interviewing yourself and you're just Rocky Balboa and Beaker. But anyways, coming up, we've got birds and they are praying to God. Hey. Or wait, did they pray on crime? Do they pray to crime? Are they religious? Am I making horrible homonym jokes about the word pray?
We'll review that later. But yes, no. Ladies and gentlemen, DC has cast 2 characters in their upcoming Birds of Prey film. Yes. For those of you who don't know, Birds of Prey is a DC Comics comic. I don't know. Screwed that up. But anyway.
It's a DC Comics.
Comic. The DC it features such characters as the Huntress, Black Canary, and Oracle. Oracle is Batgirl after she got paralyzed. Don't worry, she's not paralyzed anymore. She's fine. It's just for a while. But yeah, so they've cast Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who will always be Ramona Flowers to me. Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead has been cast as the Huntress, and an actress who I'm not familiar with, Journey Smollett Bell, has been cast to play Black Canary. So yeah, this is once again some of the movies where this is like one of their DC films that I forgot they were working on, because I guess I've been so focused on Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Shazam that I forgot the Birds of Prey was coming. Do you remember?
How dare you, Vincent? How dare you? Clearly, this is proof that you're just a bigot. You hate birds. What is it? What is it, Vincent? Did a hawk attack you once? Did a bird? Did a eagle say you weren't patriotic? Did turkey make you tired at Thanksgiving?
I had avian flu, motherfucker.
Shit, son, you went deep on that cut.
Yes. Anyway, so they've they joined Margot Robbie, who reprises her Suicide Squad role.
Wait, time out. They worked Harley Quinn into the Birds of Prey?
Yeah, because people love Harley.
Okay, yeah.
Role of Harley Quinn in a Gotham that isn't protected by Batman. The films will battle a crime lord who has yet to be announced. Now I'm starting to wonder, because I totally forgot this movie was coming up. Now I'm starting to wonder, wait, is this in the DCEU, or is this going to be like the new Joker prequel that's coming out?
Okay, so didn't DC make this horrible decision that they're going to have the DCU, but then they're also going to have standalone films?
Yeah, so we've had the movies like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, Wonder Woman. They're all set in the same cinematic universe. But because those movies are doing most of them are doing poorly, Wonder Woman being the exception.
Because DC can't get their foot out of their goddamn ass.
So basically, yeah, what they've decided to do is...
They shoved it further up.
Like, people like Batman stuff. We're going to make Batman kind of movies, and then people will like us again. We're having a great time tonight. We're laughing so much. I'm having a good time. But yeah, so this movie's going to come out. It's going to be a full female cast, because all these heroes are, female characters. I don't think they've cast their Barbara Gordon yet, a.k.a. Oracle. But we'll have to wait on that one. I mean, it's probably still...
Babs. Good old Babs.
Yeah, Babs. Actually, I'm going to look it up just to be safe.
Oh, doing his research.
Yeah, I know. So saying, shouldn't he have done this earlier? And to that I say, hey, I'm busy. YouTube ain't going to watch itself.
Research is an important thing.
Yes. No. Yeah. So I was right. Yeah, they haven't cast Barbara Gordon yet. I know there's been a lot of people who've been wanting to do that. So we'll see how that goes down. But yeah, so DC movie. It's not going to be set in the same universe as like Justice League, Man of Steel. It's going to be like the Joker origin movie starring Joaquin Phoenix, which we that's been going on a lot lately. A lot of set photos of that. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Hopefully. But yeah, so it's just DC trying to that's that universe. We might have to tank it in a couple of years. So let's just see what other DC properties we can shove out there.
DC, the Film 52.
Oh shit. Anyway, so
I actually don't know if I have faith in them to get it right inside of 60 movies. At the rate they've been going. We should just create a whole separate podcast called DC What the Fuck?
DC WTF. Coming to the River's Edge Network this fall. Anyway, let's move on to the next story and talk about a franchise that is definitely coming to an end, but not necessarily for bad reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about the final X-Men movie of this franchise, X-Men Dark Phoenix. So yeah, this is going to be the last movie of this X-Men franchise that started way back in... Was it 98, 99?
I think it was 99.
99 was the first X-Men film where we were introduced to Patrick Stewart's Professor X, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Famke Janssen's Jean Grey. So we're reaching the end of this franchise because now that Disney has bought Fox, the Fox movie studio, they now own the X-Men, and they want to get the X-Men into the MCU with Iron Man and Cap and all those other guys. So they're just going to kill this franchise after this movie. But this is the second time they're trying to tell the Dark Phoenix story. First time in live action on the big screen.
First film was 2000.
Really?
Yeah. Released films: X-Men 2000, X2 03, X-Men: The Last Stand 2006.
Damn, I always thought it was a year earlier. Whatevs. All right. Oh God, I'm horrible.
Did I just throw you off?
A little bit. No, whatever. I don't care.
I just blindsided you like a Sandra Bullock movie that has nothing to do with the X-Men.
All right. Anyway, X-Men. So in this final trailer, we see Jean Grey once again. Her Dark Phoenix persona is coming out. From what we see in the trailer, much like it was stated, it seems to be like in X-Men 3: The Last Stand, which is, like I said, the last time they tried to do a live-action Dark Phoenix. It seems like the Professor was aware of the Phoenix, but was using his psychic abilities to suppress it. That seems to be a theme in this movie. Other things going on is I'm going to start with some little stuff. We'll work up to like some bigger stuff that we see in the trailer.
Building up.
Yeah. One, the team uniforms. The team uniforms seem to be very simple. A very dark navy blue with a big yellow X across the chest. They all have this. They've gone back to all wearing a standard team uniform, which is a little disappointing for me because at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, which is a mediocre film, I thought it was okay at best.
That might be overrating it a little bit.
I'm trying to be gentle.
I mean, it wasn't quite Batman vs Superman, but it was a
boring.
little rough.
It was boring. It's like you have one of the biggest villains in the X-Men comics, and then they're like, "We're bringing in Archangel," and he was just some jerk off that no one cared about. We're bringing in Psylocke. You guys are excited about Psylocke. I am excited about Psylocke. All right, she's going to say 5 words in the whole film and not really do anything else but swing her sword.
The thing that upset me the most about that was they had created this diversion that they had essentially with, I've probably said this before on here, but with Days of Future Past, they had managed to write X-Men Wolverine Origins and X3 The Last Stand out of canon. And then in Apocalypse, they were just like, oh, we're just going to ignore how the last movie ended. Do you like how Apocalypse looks? No, I don't! No, I don't!
I didn't think it was. I mean, they're going for that. They're going really heavy on the Egyptian theme, so I thought I didn't hate the look. I just think it could have been tweaked a little bit. But Oscar Isaac, I thought was a good pick because he was a good actor. It's just that they just made him such a bland, generic villain. I want to destroy the world because I know it's the good thing to do. Anyway, back. So they're back to a standard. Everyone's basically wearing the same uniform, which is a little disappointing for me because at the end of Apocalypse, we saw them get their iconic 90s costumes, or at least variations of where they each get their own look and style and stuff like that. And they've ditched them. They've gone back to just everyone having the same uniform. They're not bad uniforms, but it's just I want each one of the characters to stand out, have their own look and style. Now, on to little bigger things. Like I said, in this movie, the Phoenix gets released and a whole bunch of horrible things go down because Jean is just tormented by her Phoenix power.
Wait, time out. The Dark Phoenix gets released and it's not just sunshine and bunny rabbits for everyone?
No sunshine, no bunny rabbits.
You mean that there's plot conflict and horrible stuff? Color me surprised. I am more surprised than when they made Apocalypse look like Ronin's ugly cousin. That's right. I just made a comparison to the villain from the original Guardians of the Galaxy movie who's going to appear in Captain Marvel,
Indeed.
Even though X-Men being a Marvel comic is not part of the MCU because Marvel foolishly sold the rights away.
But they got him back.
They did.
But yeah, so a lot of people are coming down on the Professor. And here's the thing. There's I usually don't overanalyze trailers because I don't want to figure out every detail because you know what, I want to watch the movie and experience it without having so many things already known to me. But
you want some surprise, people. You want some surprise in this spicy X-Men life.
Yeah, but there was something that did stand out for me. This is a possible spoiler from the movie, but anybody who's been watching the trailer, you'll see it. One of the main characters is going to die because you see one part of the trailer. They're dressed like they were just at a funeral. Everyone's got black clothing, ties, the whole thing. And from what I see in the trailer, it looks like Mystique is the one who's going to die. Like Dark Phoenix is going to kill Mystique, which Jennifer Lawrence has been playing that character for several films now. And when we see in the trailer, this seems to be causing a divide with the X-Men. Because she goes to Magneto, who seems to be off the grid in some kind of, like, I don't know, commune or something like that. I'm not sure. And after seeing, like, I guess, based on the trailer, he's decided that he has to go take down Jean, assuming, based on what happened with Apocalypse, he feels like, oh, I can't let this happen again, because I think that's what the trailer is indicating. So he gathers a few mutants, and in the trailer, it appears that Beast has joined Magneto to fight Dark Phoenix. Yeah, so there's going to be a slight divide in the team.
Not Hank McCoy.
Yeah, Hank's. Because remember, in X-Men First Class, Hank had a crush on Mystique. He was like really into her, and so this could be that. Yeah. And so that's.
He's a broken-hearted villain.
Yeah. Now we don't know if he's going full evil. It could be like, because Magneto doesn't seem like he's going full evil.
Why are all the blue people evil in the X-Men universe? That's just because people are the color of sadness doesn't mean that they're evil.
I wanted to say the sadness thing. That's what I was thinking. You
stole that from me, paint yourself blue and don't be a villain.
I will paint myself blue. It's going to be great. Anyway.
You're a goofball.
I know. Anyway, so yeah, that's happening. So this, I'm really hoping this movie's good, because once again, this is the last one of this franchise. So I want it to go off, blasting away, all cylinders. You know what I'm talking about? Because this franchise definitely has had its ups and downs. It's like literally for like the past 10 years, it's been like up and down.
I mean, I don't know. We might be able to expect a good one on this. Of course, like, Last Stand and X-Men Wolverine Origins did come in a row. So maybe this is X-Men Wolverine Origins all over again.
Please, God, no. Oh, God. Anyway, time to move on. We're going to move to our middle segment, our discussion.
We're not going to talk about Game of Thrones and
no, we're not going to talk about
how
the
last season's going to happen and how Sansa is going to wreak vengeance on the entire Republican Party.
No, we're going to skip all that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen...
It's a fantasy I have sometimes.
Well, that is a fantasy world, so it fits. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, so last week we reported on that the new Bond film finally got its director, and that this fifth 20 Bond film, that's right, 25 of them, this next one will be Daniel Craig's definite last one. So... the question is, it's been coming up a lot later. It's been coming up even before this,
What's the question, Vincent?
Who's going to be the next Bond? So that's what we're going to discuss, Eric. You and I, let's discuss possible contenders to play the new 007. Because there's already been a lot of people throwing some out. We've had, Idris Elba, who is an actor I love. He's fantastic. I think he's awesome. He would make a really good Bond. But a lot of people saying, because... the next James Bond film isn't coming out till 2020, so at earliest he might be able to get to play Bond by like 2022, 2023, and by that time Idris Elba would be in his early 50s. So some people are like, Idris Elba would be great, but he's going to be too old. So some people are like throwing that like, Idris Elba would be great.
How old is Elijah Craig? Elijah Craig, wow, I just turned Daniel Craig into a whiskey. Which makes sense because back in Casino Royale, wasn't he drinking some whiskey?
Oh, yeah, he's drinking a whole lot of shit.
Before he was like, give me the martinis. Blah, 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 blah.
See, he was born in 1968, and Casino Royale was 2006, so he was 40.
Okay.
When he did that movie, which is fine. That's a good age for Bond. When you're casting for Bond, you want somebody...
So how old is he now?
He's 52... No, he'll be 50.
He's 50. You said he was born in 1968. He's 50 now.
Yeah, he's 50 now. And that's the thing. When you're casting for Bond, you want somebody in like their late 30s, like real early 40s, right? Because you want them to be older. It seems like an experienced man who's, he's been through a lot of missions already.
He's been through some shit in life.
Yeah. And also, when you're casting, it's good to have that age range, because then you want at least 10 years out of this guy. You want to get 5 to 10 years to get 3 to 5 movies out of the actor. So,
You've thought about this a lot.
Well, it is something you got to remember. Because remember, a lot of people were saying, like, when Ben Affleck, before it's like all this crap went down with him in Batman, some people were like, oh, they're going to ditch him anyway because he's going to get too old soon. This is stuff that these people in Hollywood think about, and they're not necessarily wrong to bring it up and consider it. So Idris Elba, he'd be great. I think he could still pull it off, because he's dude's in good shape. So I know like he's kind of getting older, but at the same time, if he does 3 or 4 films, that means by the time that 4th film comes out, he'd be in his late 50s.
I got it, Vincent.
What?
LeBron James is James Bond. He's the king. He's the king. Except, I don't know, the Golden State Warriors might kill him.
I think the Brits will kill him for not being British. Yeah. I mean, not everybody.
He could pull the accent.
I don't know. You gotta stay in that Northern European area, because, like, you gotta stick around that area. Like, we could like maybe we could do like a Scottish guy or an Irish guy who just does a British accent. David Tennant, who was the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who, he's Scottish. I mean, generally, he considers himself a Brit. He said in an interview at one point. But he does a more British accent than a Scottish accent, which even though Peter Capaldi really didn't, so I don't know why they made. Anyway, fuck it. But yeah, so now other people have been thrown out there. Henry Cavill has been thrown out there, especially with
who dat?
Superman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Henry Cavill. I don't know if people keep pronouncing. I'm going to say Cavill.
Superman who's no longer Superman. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing the Witcher series on Netflix coming up soon. But he'd be open for Bond, and he's a British man. He's a handsome, rugged-looking dude. I could see him pulling off Bond. Other people that have been thrown out. I've heard Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki in the Marvel movies. Yeah, those are just a few of the guys I've heard. I mean, Eric, what do you think? Is there anybody whether I've mentioned them or haven't mentioned them, you think might make a cool Bond?
No one's. I'm like, okay. So, did you ever see the movie Layer Cake?
No.
Layer Cake is like a early thousands movie. Would recommend. It is a Daniel Craig drug movie. He plays a coke dealer, but it's essentially like. Was essentially his audition for Bond. I think it might be a Guy Ritchie either directed or produced film, but like it was. Sometimes an actor does a movie and you're like, oh, like this is either effectively intentionally or unintentionally your audition, like Neil Patrick Harris and Harold and Kumar. Oh, hey, would you like to play this douchebag in this show called How I Met Your Mother? And we're not talking about Ted, even though he's also a douchebag.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going through a list of like British actors right now. I don't know. Tom Hardy's also been.
Sean Connery's still alive. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but no one's seen Sean Connery in 10 years, so he probably looks like the Crypt Creeper at this point.
James Bond in a retirement home. I'm just saying that could be. A
terrorist attack in a retirement home.
What? Sean Connery appeared in one of
these. They put poison in the pudding. Poison in the pudding, Mr. Bond.
But it's toffee, so everyone wants it.
Chips and fish. Mr. Bond. We already had lunch today. I think someone needs to go down and sleep. Anyway, Tom Hardy would probably be another great one. You know what? As I'm looking at this, James McAvoy.
Okay, I could see McAvoy.
I could see McAvoy, especially after like we seen from the trailer for the Glass film. He is ripped in that movie, so I could see him doing Bond.
He's ripped, as we just covered. X-Men is coming to a close, so he's not wrapped up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's in his 30s, so he's in that kind of age spot where you want it. Well, yeah, he's in 30s.
I like that suggestion, Vincent. I like that suggestion.
Yeah.
I think that was good.
Maybe not him. I'm looking through. I'm like, maybe I don't know. Maybe Robert Pattinson. I don't know. Maybe Robert Pattinson.
When is Jason Statham going to be a Bond villain?
Here it is. Well, he's a Bond villain. He's just a hokey one in the Fast and Furious films. Except now he's a good guy. He's getting a spinoff with The Rock. Yeah. I'm sorry. Can I go off on a Fast and Furious rant real quick? So in the last movie, in the second to last movie, Jason Statham was the villain, and he killed one of the characters. And when the Fast and Furious was like, I don't have friends. I only got family. The guy killed one of their family members, and then in the next movie they team up with him, and they're cool with him at the end of the film. So now he's a good guy. He killed Han! He killed Han, motherfucker! Alright? No!
Who the fuck was Han?
Doesn't matter. The point is he's dead. Doesn't matter. I know the Fast and Furious films are far from fine art, and they're just goofy, over the top, ridiculous, eccentric bro action films, and I love them for that. I don't take them seriously. That's how I can enjoy them. They're just ridiculous. You just enjoy them for the ridiculous physics, fuck you stunts that happen in those movies. But I think it's starting to wane on me.
You don't think the Fast and the Furious are Shakespearean? I mean, clearly they speak. If you pay attention closely, they steal cars in iambic pentameter.
Oh, man.
Except for Tokyo Drift. That one they do it in haikus.
Ah, nice. I approve. But anyway, yeah, I mean, those are kind of the actors. I would see it maybe. I don't know. Eric, any picks from you, man? Anybody that tickles your fancy?
What about David Tennant?
I love David Tennant. He's fantastic. He doesn't have a Bond. I don't know.
See, I was actually going to say that he couldn't come across like mean enough, but I saw him as Kilroy, so like
Kilgrave.
Kilgrave. My bad.
You are forgetting.
Kilroy, Littlefoot.
They're all the same. They defy human.
President Orangutan. I'll say what I want, Vincent.
All right, but anyway, yeah. So a lot of actors. I mean,
we're post-reality. Things are what I say they are. That's how things work, right?
Yeah.
If I just say I'm the president, right?
You know, I just realized in X-Men and in Glass, he's playing a character that's superhuman, whose power is linked to their mind and is bald. Oh my God, James McAvoy got typecast. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. No, James. No. James Bond McAvoy. Oh, flip my computer. No, this is expensive. I paid a lot for this. Anyway, moving on. Time for the movie review, people.
Bam!
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Warner Bros.' new animated film, Smallfoot, voiced. In this movie, we got a lot of star talent. We got Channing Tatum, James Corden, Zendaya, Common, LeBron James, Danny DeVito, Gina Rodriguez, Yara Shahid.
They were like, we're going to cast all of the demographics.
Oh, her, okay. Her. I've seen her before. Okay.
We're going to appeal to everyone. Do you like old white guys? We got that. Yeah. Do you like superstar athletes? We got that. Do you like people with only one name? Yeah. We got it!
Boom! So the plot of this movie is a Bigfoot who lives on top of a mountain with a whole village of Bigfoot, finds a Littlefoot, a.k.a. a human, and to them, we are a myth. We are like a monster of legend that's not supposed to exist. And he...
Spoilers, Vincent!
Yeah. But nobody in the village believes him, so he travels down to the bottom of the mountain to find another Smallfoot to prove that he's right and he's not crazy. So this movie... it's enjoyable, but it does have some problems. At least me. I know, Eric, you did not find it. You didn't like it.
So, like, I feel like the way you felt at some of the other, like, family-friendly movies we've watched is, like, how I felt about that. Like, this seemed very contrived and manufactured to me, and it seemed tonally inconsistent. It felt like they were like, oh, we'll throw in these moves, but then they didn't execute the moves. Like the goat.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be like the cute, funny, like
weird
humor
animal
release. Yeah, which I just did not find it like really endearing. Like
it's only in the movie like 3 times. I think it's like what 3 or 4 times.
No, it's in the movie like at least a half dozen times.
Really?
Oh yeah, it keeps.
You're keeping count.
Yeah. Well, because it pops up because that's like he come when. So the Yetis live up above the clouds in the mountain of the Himalayas. And at some point, the protagonist in the story, played by Channing Tatum, in this weird Hollywood move where, like, actors and actresses that are considered very attractive are just doing voice acting roles where we can't see their body. My favorite is that they cast Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. Like, that was just amazing. But he has to come in. The first thing that he discovers is a goat. There's this goat, and then he like runs into the plane, and the goat, he thinks there's a person in the plane, but it's the goat. And the goat keeps bobbing back up.
I feel like you're just confusing people. Like, there's a goat and a plane. What is this? It's the sequel to Snakes on a Plane.
Goat on a plane. You know what? I would watch that movie.
Zombie mutant goats on a plane. And, so yeah, no. I think one of the problems this film has, for one, it's a musical, and I didn't know it was a musical because
that was an ambush. That was an ambush.
I saw the first trailer, and it didn't indicate musical. Now you got Zendaya and Common in there, who are both, you know, musicians. They can sing. They have very nice voices.
Yeah, but like Ice-T is in SVU, Law and Order, and there's never been a like assaulting people is wrong rap or anything.
I feel like they would downplay everything in that. Mariska Hargitay's like, I don't think this is a good script for this episode. I don't.
And then after that, Richard Belzer is going to do a stand-up set.
But anyway, yeah. So there are songs in this movie, and none of them are bad. They're nice little, you know, like. But
they're fun ditties.
Yeah, but some of them seem out of place. Like, you know, like when you're doing a musical, like animated film or any kind of musical. You know, the natural there has to be a natural segue or progression into the song, and there was for like two of the songs, they just kind of like literally like walked right into the song. I didn't feel like they like, you know, sailed into it. They like
there was no foreplay. All of a sudden, it was just like a song is happening.
It's like, oh wow, okay, song, yeah, but you could give me some warning. I could have like, you know, like still got my pants on.
Put on some chapstick.
Yeah. Another thing is. None of the characters in this movie are bad. There's one annoying character, but he's supposed to be the annoying character. So
that was actually one of the best characters.
I just feel like I've seen that character way too many times.
Yeah, but it's a fun one.
Yeah. Some of the characters are, like I said, they're not bad, but I don't think they're as memorable as one would hope. Like they're not like, I don't want to say generic. They're above generic. But they're not. I feel like.
Okay, so my favorite character in this was played by also my vote for James Bond. That's right, LeBron James. Excuse me. Ugh. Played like the kind of like weird, this large purple Yeti, kind of the weird character. What's the matter? I burp and that just makes you tired.
Yeah. It's the CO2. It's, you know.
So LeBron James plays this big like purple Yeti. He's just like the weird one, and he has like some one-liners, and you know he's clearly taking advantage of the fact that he lives in Lakerland now.
Let me list some good stuff. The animation was good.
Visually, it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, there actually are some really cool. Like one of the song numbers were like, not a spoiler, but one of the song numbers are flying on a comet through space. It turns into a music video out of nowhere, and it was kind of some cool stuff. And I was like, wait, are they in space now?
Didn't they have glowing snails at some point?
Yeah, they have these bioluminescent snails up on the mountain to light the inside of the cave houses.
That looks super cool.
Yeah, so yeah, that was super cool.
Like visually it was fine, and there were like there's some themes in the story, like the way it was set up, where like I should have. This is a movie that I should have liked more. Like again, it felt like. It felt like they tried to jam too much They tried to jam too much into the casserole.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, wait, what is this? There's like tuna, and there's celery, and then there's like custard. What's happening?
Yeah, so let's talk about the themes and the messages of the film. So it comes from when, after our main character, Migo, voiced once again by Channing Tatum, he sees a Smallfoot, and no one believes him because the village elder has supposed to uphold like these dozens of rules that are written on stones, these little stones.
The stone rules.
Yes, that make up a
do not disobey the stone.
Stop interrupting me. I'm trying to explain shit, and you are a stoner. You're just stoning me out right now. Get biblical in here. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, he has this robe made of these stones, and each one of these stones has like a little picture on it indicating what they believe. And they believe all these crazy things, like their mountain is just on top of these like god elephants that are floating in an abyss, and they have to feed the god elephants with ice, otherwise they'll fall down into the abyss, and that they were created by a god yak defecating them out. That's the second week in a row I've been able to use defecating. The term defecating in a proper way on the show. It's weird, but we're going.
Let's keep a tally. Right. 2 in a row. How many weeks can we keep this streak?
So the village elder chief
of defecation,
who's voiced by Common, he has to keep all these rules in place, even though they're just, and everybody in the village is happy, but they're ignorant. They're as ignorant as bliss, and they bring that up in the film. But so in order for Channing Tatum to prove that he's not crazy and he really saw a Smallfoot, he basically has to challenge these traditions and rules and laws that have kept the society the way it is. And that's a theme of the film, to be curious, to question things, and even to question authority to a degree, which might turn off some parents, because some parents might see this as like some kind of like weird agenda or something like that, and But I think that's a good thing, because like they're trying to they're taking the whole thing of like, let kids be curious and imaginative and ask questions and stuff like that. And this movie, so it definitely's got a societal, political ring to it, with the way things are in this country right now. Like I'm not really going to get into all the politics going on right now, but like this movie does have that ring to it where challenge authority, question, ask why things are the way they are. Ask them, is this really true? Or did we just accept this a while back to explain something and we never really looked into it to decide if it's true or not? It brings up a lot of these kind of discussions. And you have people in their little village that actually have already started to question things for a while now. One of them being Zendaya's character, who's the daughter of the chief, the law keeper, whatever you want to call him. Stonekeeper, sorry. And he has to go down, and he finds Smallfoot. The Smallfoot that he befriends is voiced by James Corden, host of the. Is he the Late Late Show or the Tonight? He's one of those.
I think it's the Late Late Show.
Yeah, Late Late Show. Very funny guy. He voices the Smallfoot, whose character is like
maybe he could be James Bond. I'm sorry, I did it again. I did it. Keep going.
Motherfucker.
Now you know what Sheena deals with all the time.
That sweet angel.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's like, his character is like a former Steve Irwin type. Like he was an animal expert who loved animals. He had a TV show, except, with his character, like he got too much into the fame, and now his like ratings are dropping, and he's not really concerned about animals anymore, but he's concerned about the fame. But after meeting the Bigfoot, which at first, like, because like they speak different languages, he thinks the Bigfoot's attacking him, which you see in the trailer. They start to find a way to kind of communicate. Right, and he's like, his love for like discovering new animals is reinvigorated. Even though like the Bigfoot, big feet, would that be Bigfoots? What's the plural on that?
Yetis.
Yetis. Yes, thank you. That is the politically correct term. Yetis.
At least at this point in time,
yeah, we're more than our feet. Okay.
We're more than our quatch. I just assume Sasquatch means, that's like Spanish for big feet, right? Like Sass is, I don't know, I took French in high school.
Sass is Squatch. Anyway, I think, Jesus, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just felt like saying that. It's for me. It's more for me. Anyway, so he gets reinvigorated and all these animals, so that kind of stuff is good. But once again, I think the problems that holding the film back is that there are some cliches in the film. One I don't want to reveal because it's a bit of a spoiler, but when you see it in the movie, you'll be like, oh, I've seen this in movies 1,000 times before.
It felt very rote and generic from my point.
Now, there are certain story elements that are a bit generic.
This was like, a college undergrad read Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces. And then wrote an animated musical, like roughly using those guidelines in a very generic manner.
Yeah, so, I mean, I still found the movie kind of enjoyable. The messages of the film, they're, like I said, I think they're good, and I think they present them in a way that children can understand them. Like I said, maybe some parents might not like it, but I think if you just kind of look at it the way it is, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Go ahead.
How long until religious groups are having burnings of this movie? Like, I mean, no, come on. If there were people in North Carolina having Harry Potter book burnings, like somewhere they're going to be like, it teaches children dissent and also that Yetis are real. We must burn it. It's evil.
Yetis are a tool of the devil. All right. One, they're big. People aren't that big. That's not people. 2 ain't from America, okay? We got Bigfoot here. They're American Bigfoots. They're gods, all right? They're God's creatures, okay? But Yetis, they're not from America.
Okay, that was actually, you bring up one of the things that upset me most about this film. So they, at some point, they end up in what appears to be China. And so some police pop up, but at one point, I don't know if you caught this, the police were speaking English in China.
Well, I think
that upset me a lot.
Well, I think it was a tourist town because they are in the mountains. I think it's a tourist town. Because most of the characters, like, there was a blend of, like, Asian-looking characters and American-looking characters. So I think it's a tourist destination spot.
Okay, but why would there be white cops at a tourist destination spot?
Hey, man, you got to get work somewhere. I don't know.
They're like, actually, currently the transition rate from the dollar to the yen is really, really favorable for us.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Vincent. What would you say? Would you recommend this movie to people?
You know what? It's not the best animated film I've seen. Not even the best one I've seen in, like recently. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think little kids will enjoy the movie. I just don't think this is a movie that like adults would like too, because like some of the cliches. It's not a bad movie. I would not call it a bad movie. But yeah, I would recommend it. Just take your kids like nice matinee day or something like that, and go check it out. It has its faults, but I think it's still decent.
Vince is wrong. This movie is bad. YouTube LeBron James highlights instead.
Damn, bro. Damn. I'd rather watch this again than House with the Clock in the Wall, so I'll say that.
Ooh. I think I might go with House with the Clock in the Wall over this.
Oh. Okay, man. If you like defecating lions, just shift the film.
You were so upset about that.
I'm still upset about that.
I mean, so defecating lions, but having the idea that like yaks just defecated yetis into existence is chill.
I did not like that. But we didn't see the yetis literally.
Where's your line on defecation drawn, Vincent?
Here's the difference. I literally did not see the yetis emit out of the yak's ass, okay? I didn't see that, okay? The yetis just like out of there, okay? But anyway, all right. I think that's all we got to talk about. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before we end the show today, once again, International Podcast Day this Sunday, Pittsburgh PodCon. We're going to be there, Spirit Hall in Lawrenceville, 5:00. Also, we got our Patreon page, so if you would like to contribute to the show to help out at all, we'll be greatly welcome. Head over to patreon.com/POVincent. And also, remember in a few weeks, we got the premiere of my new podcast, Silver Screen Stand-Ups, where me, Eric is going to be joining me for the first episode, and our good friend Zach Funk. We three comedians, we're going to be doing a review and roast of Spider-Man 3. We're going to have a good time. So yeah, please join us. It's going to be October 10th. Wednesday, we're shooting for 9:00. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys today. So thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.